what to write about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Spending time all alone, sending my songs through the phone, dreaming of a better home, while focused on trying to hone this craft. I hope the brujas let this last.
I don't know.
That was the great sounds of Watts with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, EZ BlueZ is in the building. EZ BlueZ, you are better with introductions more than me. Who do we have with us today on Behind the Brand?
Ladies and gentlemen, we talk about art on this show often, and we talk about being able to take everything we see in this world and all that pain and all that heartbreak and all that love and all that joy and funneling it through the prism of your artistic heart and then projecting it onto the world itself. And today I am honored, blessed, and privileged to have someone that actually can do that from a visual point of view. If you have not seen the documentaries, if you have not seen the awards that this human being has been up for and has held on to, you are merely lost. And what is the most incredible thing? I met this man at Edge of the Woods, and I only knew him as an incredible human being. And from that point, put your hands together for the amazing Travis Carbonella. How are you doing, brother?
Man, that was a real fantastic intro. Gotta tell you.
He's really good at that. He's definitely amazed with that. He knows he's good at this now.
Oh my God.
I mean, like before, like he was skeptical, but now, like he's on it. Like he's on it. I just give him what you give me. He flips it around. It just makes this masterpiece. He's really good at intros. I keep on telling you.
This is not about me. This is Travis's interview.
It is about him.
About
you
me
just
tomorrow.
Him. You just did this. You made him smile, made him feel good about himself in like 2 seconds. This was about him and still is about him. Travis, thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Generic question. Why did you want to do this? What made this be your passion? Why did you want to choose being directing in video and going into that world?
I think I would leverage, like, I really love storytelling, and I love the artistic side of it. So I think I get that. I think I get the storytelling from my father, and I think I get the artistic side from my mother. And so I think those are the main two components. And then there are other factors about how it came to be, but I think those two things funneled into then using media as that tool to funnel that. So I think that's that at the core, that's where I'm at.
Ease your fingers up. Go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you.
Well, no, I absolutely love the fact that was the answer, because one of my favorite filmmakers, directors, and even writers, Kevin Smith, says it all the time. The only thing that we have that's original is our own story, and go out there and tell your own story. And Travis, you actually are able to not only tell your story because you are entrenched in every area that you get into, but you're able to tell other people's stories by doing documentaries, which is a whole nother incredible art form.
Mm-hmm.
Now, which do you prefer? Do you prefer to be more, I'm going to create this universe, or I'm going to show the beauty of the universe that's already created?
The second, yeah. I think like I just my intention is that I really like seeing things as they unfold naturally, and then just capturing that. So yeah, I think when you were speaking about like things that already exist, and then I'm just kind of capturing as they unfold, and then through my own lens. But yeah, because I don't write scripts and I don't do too much pre-production. I like to kind of figure out the story. I like to figure out the story like in the interview. I know. Usually, I always know like what I'm looking for, or in the sense of like, of course, like questions. But the biggest part of like how I structure is like through the interview process, and then talking to folks and in that process, that's when the story comes out. I kind of just like leave it open and then figure it out in the conversation, and then yeah. So that's the structure of it for me. I like it, but also when I'm filming live, like things that are happening in real time, I really like that. I like there's no bigger drama than real life, and can't script it. So
Tell me about your first video project. What was that like for you?
my first, that would be, I would say, okay, so a couple come to mind, but I would say like, if you define like first video project, because there's like the first video that I made as a kid, there's my actual first freelance gig. There's
Actual
like,
first freelance gig. Let's go there.
yeah, okay, so that was 2013,
Mm.
and that was the first time I got a gig where I had to submit a W-9. Before that, I was just like, listen, I'll do this video for you for like $60 or this for like $50, you know. And but then I was creating these series called Who Knows We Know, and somebody saw that, and that was like just grassroots organizers on the scene speaking to camera, and I made kind of formulated it and like put it out on YouTube. And this is kind of early days of like social narratives being created in like a short form. It wasn't like, like AJ Plus and a bunch of stuff where news is doing stuff like short form. This is kind of before that. So I wanted to get, people talking about like what they were doing on the street in the sense of organizing, and then put that out so it's kind of shareable on social media. And then somebody saw that. Chris Randall saw that and then recommended me for this job for the community foundation. And then they were doing their annual report, and then they wanted a video kind of highlight people kind of sharing what they loved about the area. And so we went to like 5 different towns of the greater New Haven area and filmed that. And then, but that was my first gig in 2013. That was a big deal for me because like I still had to I didn't have all the equipment. Definitely was like, borrowing equipment, buying equipment like the day of the shoot, and the kind of that hustle of like just when you're not prepared, still saying yes.
Now, at that point, did you realize your value?
Oh God, no. That takes so much time. 100% not. Yeah, I think that's the one thing I tell anybody who freelances. I said the biggest lesson you're going to learn is the questions you ask about yourself and how you and it's all about value and your own worth, and that is like the biggest hurdle when it comes to freelance. But it's also your biggest, one of your biggest teachers, and like you really learn a lot about yourself. But a lot comes out about your either relationship with money, your past with it, and things that you still hold on to. So
you can agree with that, Easy?
Oh yeah, no, I think it's honestly some of the most honest stuff that's out there, and some of the stuff that we as artists forget about so super quick, and especially when you can get so entrenched in the art itself, where and there is that kind of artist culture of that la bohemian culture of like, I only need what I need to exist, and then you realize how much it costs to exist. And you start to really rethink things, and as you continue to grow, that kind of evolves with you and almost evolves with your art, as long as, I think with myself in particular, as long as it doesn't influence the art for me. And that's from just a complete creative aspect. I'm not doing this just to make a buck. I'm still trying to do that. I think it becomes the most freeing, but man, it is shattering when you realize, like, I'm looking at an $800 wireless microphone, and I'm just happy everyone in my house is fed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I mean, it takes a long time to build up equipment. But it's the consistency of it. You'll be able to like stuff on the way, and then that's kind of that's what happened with me. Where in the sense of, it definitely takes a while to get all the equipment that you need, especially to like produce video. And you kind of just make it work in the beginning. You see if there's equipment that you can borrow here, or somebody took something there, and then eventually with the consistency, you're able to like purchase your own. And so, yeah.
And that's the other thing too, is when you do wind up borrowing, you know, that stuff, and you're able to, you then start to see how much more it can add to your art. And now that thing you didn't really know you needed now becomes a focal point. Like, okay, I have to do this, and this to get up the things to own this, because once I own this part, it's going to make my job easier on this end, and it'll be, you know, even better. Or wow, this one particular filter was just so flippin' beautiful. I have to make sure I can get that lens, or I can, you know, find that proper color correct program. And you know, all those things really do help and do make your life easier. But yeah, it's a blessing and a curse. It's that wonderful rabbit hole.
I would also say there's like a line or two where you're like, okay, am I just expecting myself to get this equipment because it's like the latest thing out, or do I? And I've gone through that where I just I always use like a really simple shoulder rig, and I like shooting from that. I like the positioning that I can get from it. Then I would press myself, oh, I got to get, you know, something motorized, and then I would buy it, and then I would be like, well, I don't even like shooting with this, and I would get it because I would feel the pressure of like, oh, I just got to stay up current. But really, everything is just a tool for your own, for what and why you create. I'm not doing this to be, you know, tech savvy, but I'm doing this to tell story. So if it's in the presence of like, it'll help me tell a story. But if it's not, then I don't, you know, I can stay with the equipment that I have. But I think there's a line there. But I do agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, no, and I love, and I hope that everyone that is listening right now and everyone watching this on the Facebook and the YouTubes and all that goes back and listens to that section. You know, there is always going to be that industry to be like the Joneses. I need this latest aspect of it. You know, I need the iPhone 14 because it's massively important. And it's like a step above what you were using before. And it's wound up being a waste. You know, it then sits there. And then when you try to do the resale value of that, you're getting half the value you initially invested. And it can become just a monster. So know the art. And I love that you literally said, if it helps me tell the story, if it adds to the story, then it's necessary.
Yeah.
That is the part that I hope everyone is writing down, goes back to.
And then like the biggest investment is also like not necessarily always with equipment, but like how I'm taking care of myself, because for the work to like really translate, you know, I'm just using kind of like whatever, like how should I like, I think it's more important like that I'm taking care of myself sometimes, or more importantly than like necessarily the equipment that I have, because so much of the work is the kind of relationship that I have or that I'm building in the moment, either with the person that's like on camera or like the conversation. And if I'm at my best, then that resonates with the person that I'm working with, and that can be more important than some of the equipment that I have sometimes. And yeah, a lot of times, a lot of it is just the investment in yourself too, because you got to take help, especially with this type of work.
And that's so huge. And I hope people are writing this down and really understanding, you know, what was just said there, where you have, you know, us as creatives, we forget that we are the instrument as well. And you know, if you were a musician and your guitar breaks a string, you change the string. But we forget that the human body can break down. And I am one of the biggest I am one of the biggest offenders there. You know, I was forced to wind up getting back surgery because I didn't take care of myself well enough. You know, so really, I hope that people are really listening to what you just said there, and holding that close. You know, the most important thing is taking care of yourself so you can connect, because that's the key with art. And that art that lasts forever is it builds a connection. And whether it's that connection from, you know, the interviewer to the interviewee, the connection from, you know, the subject to the storyteller, or the connection from the story to the audience, that's still a very human connection. and you need to be able to take care of that human.
Yeah.
So again, thank you for that.
Oh God, yeah.
Definitely thank you for that. On WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made EZ BlueZ is in the building. We got videographer Travis Carbonella with us on Behind the Brand. Travis, what have been your favorite stories to tell in New Haven?
Favorites. I think my favorite stories were ones that kind of happened like spontaneously, and I don't typically like have the room to like create those as much anymore. But like I think maybe like around 2015, 16, maybe 16. I was like, if I was like maybe headed to a shoot and I would see someone and kind of just talk to them, and that kind of like just spontaneity with my camera and creating those type of videos. Really love the magic that like happens in that moment, and like how the way that a camera can really like be a door opener into like somebody's life, or I could, you could spark up a conversation if you have a camera. And I think kind of creating those like little like slice of life videos that weren't planned. I think those would be some of my favorite. Really like it really like humbles you, and to connect with a stranger is like it's a lot. I mean, if you think about how bold it is to like talk to somebody that you don't know, it's a lot. It's a lot. Energetically, it's a lot. It's not easy. And I think kind of pushing myself to do that, just to kind of push those waters just for myself, I think are some of my favorite things to create and like in the document, just kind of like, on the spots, spontaneity videos like that.
What made you better people person?
Yeah. That goes into like about the investment in yourself. You got to like, if you're, to be a people person, it's a lot, and it takes a lot out of you too. But you got to take care of yourself so you can show up at your best self.
How much were you a people person during the wind down in CT? I think it was like on Whaley Avenue. Everybody looked like they were having fun, dancing. There was like a little band there behind the liquor store, and it was just like a good time. Everybody was just enjoying themselves in New Haven. It was great to see. We saw the pictures that you did. It was wonderful. Tell me about that experience. How much fun did you have?
A ton of fun, I think. And then also like some of the being a part of that is also some of my favorite. When you're asking like what is like, at first I thought about like the wind down, and then I went more into the spontaneity videos, but so they're kind of both similar in the sense of like what I'm excited about, and like some of the projects. But like so wind down is so two of my best friends put that together, Tama and Lauren, and I help with whatever way that I can, and then so I'm definitely like always there to document. And the last one was in Westville, that closed off Central Ave.
Yeah.
And man, they did such a good job like organizing that. And it was like, they held like a great space. The lineup of musicians was fantastic. There was about over 500 people there. And like, the neighborhood association helped with like, with like helping with certain things to get that off the ground, with like Wovra, and just like pulling in different partners. They did a really good job of like setting up that space. So that's like something that I'm like really excited about. And like, yeah.
Word, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's definitely cool.
It's good.
Now, I've been reading you did some projects on social justice and just activism. Tell me some about those projects. And was it by yourself doing that when you were just out there, or did you have a team?
And what you like, when you talking about specifically, or just anytime?
Just like any topic, because I've been reading I'd ever like read on some of the projects, but I've been reading that you have been doing a lot of stuff on Activision. But like a lot of people really can't do that by themselves when it comes to filming. They need like a whole, you know, crew and staff.
I would say like so my first job, my first like real job in the sense of like real meaning like using like jobbing like in video.
Yeah.
For me was in New Haven. It was with Youth Rights Media, like 2009, and I think and that was you know, like teaching kids, like young people, how to use media as a tool for advocacy. And like within that scope of work too, like I met a lot of people that were like organizing, doing like social justice work on the ground. And so when that ended, I had relationships, so I was able to stay connected to like groups and people who were doing that work. And so I feel like then I built trust and like access points, because then I realized like a lot of this work is all about access. So like, you know, if like say someone is seeking sanctuary inside the church, you know, like you need to like have access to get into that church, so you could like make a video that can then highlight and strengthen the work that an organization is doing to help this person. So I think I've never like just kind of always been like in the sense of like the production, like I've always been by myself, where I would shoot and then cut and then put it out in an attempt to like help strengthen the message or what the things that people were doing. But yeah, it's always been by myself in the sense of production.
Easy, your fingers up. Go right ahead, buddy.
Well, no, I wanted to just touch base a little bit and kind of explore some what you said there, because I really want that for people to hit home. And I can attest for this because I know you. I've seen you in many different environments. We run in some of the same spaces, and every time we look at each other and be like, hey, haven't seen you in so long. It's one of the coolest experiences of my life, I'll be honest with you. Being able to gain access and to gain access authentically. You know, you have developed these relationships because you showed up. You showed up not because you were trying to fill out an application, not because you were trying to boost a resume. You showed up because you believed in the people and you believed in, you know, the cause itself, and you did what was necessary there, and stepped up. And because of that, you're able to build relationships and able to grow from there. And from there, you're able to tell their story. One of the most important things when telling someone else's story, you need to earn the trust, and it needs to be on a real level. You can truly get to know somebody. And I want to commend you for that and give you the flowers for being a really amazing and organic human being. And because of that, you're able to tell these great stories. And I want to like flowers now. So thank
you. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, because yeah, everything you said is accurate in that sense. Like yeah, I think it does take a lot to build trust, and it does have to happen organically, and you do have to do it without any you're not doing it for anything in return, but just because it's like a service. I feel like there's a service that I can like provide. So and so it's always been off the strength of that. And then yeah, but yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah.
To live better, we must live united. A PSA for United Way of a Greater New Haven. Tell me about that project.
That was a project. I worked, you know, I've done different jobs with the United Way, and that was like a campaign video that they did, and I went out and got most of it, and then my friend Peter, who worked there, then submitted that to like the regional ME. So, you know, that was yeah, that was one that, and then they were able to like then cut it. But yeah, that was one I did with a friend of mine, Peter, who's not with United Way anymore, but used to be. Yeah.
How'd it feel getting the Emmy nomination for it?
but like I think it's always nice to like for the regional ends, like it's nice to you have things submitted. I think like a lot of like the awards like they're like two things. They're like, you know,
Mhm.
there's something that's like kind of BS about it because like you gotta like pay all this money to be a part of it.
Wow.
Yeah, like you gotta, or if you can't pay for it, you gotta like have a waiver. Like I tried to submit something to like the Webby Awards, right? And it's like
Mhm.
$400.
Wow, that's crazy.
You know what I mean? So like
Wow.
I asked him for like a waiver. I was like, I did this other video like off the strength, like independently. Like I can't pay this, but I want. But then it's like you also kind of need like those titles because not
Uh-huh.
need is a word I don't like to use, but those titles um, provide like public validation, right? So then
Right.
like
Mhm.
immediately like your like public value goes up, right? If you like have
Mhm.
like prestiges and awards, so like a lot of it's um uh like a show, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like a
Mhm.
um a popularity contest, and then the other side is like
Mhm.
perception. So it's like, you know, you just kind of take it for what
It's
it
like
is.
a seesaw.
Like a seesaw, right?
It's
Yeah.
like a seesaw. Like at the end of the day, it's not about the award. It's about the message you're trying to give to the people. And then at the other end, that award might give you an opportunity to something else that may give you to better,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it is, it's the seesaw. It's just kind of
Mhm.
like the game of it all. Like, you know, this will like raise my like public perception,
Mhm.
which will like, you know, raise my value. On the other side, it's like a popularity contest, a fundraiser, you know, it's like kind of there's like you know whatever that like else like that could be like some like BS about it, but like yeah, I think it's just like a seesaw. It's nothing like, you know, it's not, it doesn't like woo you or take you out of what you're doing. It's just yeah.
You deal with a lot of egos in what you do.
In the work that I see, I'm in a, you know, I'm in like a my focus with my work
Yeah.
is like is there's not too many people that I feel like focus on. There's a lot of different avenues when it comes to video, you know, and so
Mhm.
Mhm.
I feel like with the avenue that I focus on, I don't know, I don't think there's a lot of egos. I think people generally like if I have a question, there's some. This is a hard one for me to answer because I sometimes
Okay.
I
Yeah.
feel I don't. There's not. There's a lot of there's in New Haven. There's like a handful of people that I know that do video. I feel like
Mhm.
they're all
Mhm.
cool. Everybody kind of does their own kind of specific thing, you know,
Mhm.
and so yeah,
More people tend to stay in their lane, but like as far as working together, it's more united when it comes to just your professional field.
well, I guess you know, there's certain people that I call on. Like I call on like my buddy
Right.
Mike. Mike does like audio, and so like I'll call on him for like second camera and like audio, and he's great. And then like you know, I think just being in Westville, you get like you're connected with a bunch of artists. So like I'm at Lada Studio, and you know Luke is a master lighter, and Misty's a like you know master at like direction and like you know watching them two work, and then if I'm able to work with them in collaboration and so there's a bunch of people like that in Westville where so they might not do video, but they do other aspects of creation that can then be pulled in at different times, or you learn a lot from folks. So I feel like in that sense, you know, being in Westville, I feel like that is like the best kind of like library because you're with like a bunch of different people that do different mediums and you get to learn from each other all the time because there's a strong community here of like of that, and people are always creating. So
Definitely. Easy, your fingers up, all you.
Well, no, that's the thing is to kind of expound upon that just a little bit. You in this industry, and especially in the community that you're in, because this is, I say it all the time with New Haven in particular. It's a very it's a big city, small community type of feel. And here in particular, it matches your energy. So when you go into it thinking you're egotistical, and that's coming from, like, again, the musician point of view, where there was moments I came into the industry, in New Haven, egotistical, and I got matched with that energy. It was when I then started to unpack that and really build upon the artistic aspect of it, and understand that there's a community out there, instead of being in constant competition, that will grow together and learn together. And that's what a community is for. So I will say it's matching that community. And, like, as per the awards and stuff that you were talking about, again, that really does, it adds to the resume. And even, like, those nominations for like the popularity contests, award type of things, those nominations mean more than the award itself in those times, because then you can put on the thing, or, like, for example, not to name drop, but we were just nominated for, a New England Music Award for Best Punk Act of 2022. It's a popularity contest from here on out. People are going to vote. They're going to vote. They're going to vote the way they want to vote. I'm not telling them how to vote, but if you vote Shane Penguin, it's a good day. But what I will see, the fact that we were nominated, and the fact that now we can say we're a New England Music Award nominee.
Right. Exactly.
That bumped us a little bit different of a level. It's the door is now $6 instead of $5. You know what I mean? And that's, it's a beautiful thing.
Right. It's an easy sell. Like, people just see that. Mm-hmm. Really, but for me, what it is, you're just like gaining trust. You're just gaining public trust when you could list that, and then automatically, like, I feel like with any brand, anything, it's about trust. And so, like, the more things you could list off is, like, the more trustworthy you become. It's an easier sell. So that's the way I look at that kind of stuff too. Just like how I'm building trust.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Tell me about the work you did with Local 34.
Local 34, I've been doing work with them. My work primarily with them is, like, so when they have, like, a rally, they'll give me a holler, and then see if I could, like, make a video that turns like what to really capture the spirit of the rally. And then I think videos are a good way to continue momentum. And so I first started working with them. I just did, and this is kind of more in the era of my spontaneity videos, when I was, like, kind of just going out and filming stuff. And so I filmed, they had a rally, and this is when Instagram first went to, you could only do 15 seconds of video. So I went, I did it, and then I was, like, pressing myself how to, like, create a video in 15 seconds. So, like, and then I made 4 of them. And so I took the rally, made 4 different videos in the 15-second slot, and then it, like, just kind of really held up the energy and the spirit of it. And they kind of just we've been working since then together. But that first one was really, like, I was there, I had my camera, and it was more of, like, a test of me to, like, how do I tell this story in 15 seconds? Like, how can I tell a story in 15 seconds? And so I did, and I made 4, like I said, 4 of those. And then without, like, it being too fast, you don't want to, like, have it too fast where you're making, like, people confused, but you got to keep it at a certain speed. So that's with Local 34, with them, that's where it started.
A lot of people think it's so easy to make those 15 to 20-second reels. It can be hard, especially because you're really trying to get someone's attention. Easy, you would know with your TikToks, right? And then stuff you do on Instagram, like, you're trying to get that one person's attention, and it get just really hard because out those 2 to 3 seconds, they can just go right to something else.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think it's easy. It can be really hard.
Well, and also like it's easier for someone like me who's literally doing it for spits and giggles, and you know, trying to make somebody laugh, or in some cases trying to tick people off, or you know, highlight to certain causes that need to be highlighted. And you know, as I tell people, follow, unfollow, don't care. You know, so it's easier for me when we're sitting there and have to tell a story and only have that 15 seconds. And it's so cool because again, Kevin Smith literally just talked about this like 2 months ago, where, you know, when he started out, you know, telling stories, you know, and doing it through a film aspect, you know, he needed an hour and a half to tell the story properly. When he's seeing these people do this stuff on like TikTok or Instagram stories that are 15 seconds and being able to tell that story, you know, he's like, they're my heroes. So it is such a thing to kind of do because you're doing everything so quick. And now they're even saying, like, from a consumer point of view, they're now cutting that 15 seconds to, you know, get to the meat in 7.5 seconds.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like my head will hurt.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really
It's interesting on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City Made nominated EZ BlueZ is in the building on Behind the Brand. We got Travis Carbonella with us. One of my favorite projects you did on Local 34 was the Yale New Haven banner that was like on the street. And it was like a whole bunch of people just like paying the man, just getting together. Like that was just an insane just place just to be in at that time, and just like a great environment. Tell me everything just about that experience, just a little bit.
That one was the purpose of that one is like they wanted to document visually like the amount of Yale's endowment, and then the amount of money that is Yale gives to the city every year. And I think it's an important visual because so much of the, like, you know, a lot of city resources are lost because Yale dominates so much property, and they don't have to pay property tax. So I think they're just documenting the sense of their wealth, and then comparing it to the lack of resources that then are provided within that space. So like the red line was like the contribution, and that went like 2 feet, and then the blue line, which was the endowment, went a block and a half. So that was the union's display on like just kind of visually showing that. Yeah, because I think it's easier for people to understand visually than it is kind of like if they hear it or read about it.
Definitely.
Well, stuff. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Well, you know, that's really the thing is, you know, and it's amazing that people are out there telling these stories, and it's amazing that people are out there and doing that. Because if not, it's very simple to be lost in print. It's very simple to be lost in a PR spin, because that's what a PR is supposed to do. You know, so when they're like, well, they do this, but in comparison to what they're taking, it's not fair.
Yeah.
You know, and making a promise and following through with a promise are two different things. And if we don't have, you know, artists like yourself and activists like other people that are out there, you know, documenting and holding them accountable for not following through with a simple promise, you know, it can easily get lost. Because anyone who's been a parent, if you give a child an inch, they take a yard. And it's the same thing when we don't hold people accountable.
Yeah.
When you don't hold them accountable, if they take an inch, they're going to take a yard. So thank you for doing that. It's important.
I think so much gets like so much gets normalized, especially within like systems. You know, you don't. It's you're born into a system, and then it gets kind of normalize your way into like living into it. But there is so much that gets normalized that really, I don't know if it was broken down or understood completely, maybe it wouldn't be so normalized and or like tolerated. But I think a lot of that is like, how do you break that down in a way that's understandable and also like palpable, you know, because it's complex. The systems are complex, and the power dynamics are you know, complex in their own way. But like, yeah, I think yeah, how do you kind of unnormalize it by just, you know, kind of just like showing it for what it is. But yeah.
Tell me about your trip in India. Like, you had so much fun.
Okay, yeah. So that was the first time I was out of the country.
Oh wow! All right.
Yeah, and my buddy Anthony Carlo was going on this trip, and I was like, you know what, I'm going with you. And I was just kind of like, I was like, yeah. It was the first time I like allowed myself to take time off of like any type of work. I did bring my camera, and I learned a lot when I was there, but that was like that was a powerful trip. That was like, you know, some of the best experience of my life. And
yeah,
the one thing that I did learn there is that, and this kind of, we were talking about this earlier, but in the sense of people show up how you show up. And so like there was there was a language barrier, and I couldn't ask anybody I couldn't ask them if they were like their photo, but I could do it with body language, and I could do it with eye contact. And so
yeah, okay.
Right? And so if I did it where I was like unsure about it, then they were unsure about it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I did it with confidence, then they were confident. And so there's a montage video that's like a linear kind of visual description of like the trip. Everything happens like in real time, like all the shots happen in chronological order. And I made that video, and a lot of it is just people's kind of that moment of like people looking at the camera, and the camera looking back, and so a lot of it is just like people looking straight to camera. And it's some of my favorite work is that video with the most stuff when we says song behind it. And but just the visuals of like folks looking into the camera, and I learned a big lesson with that one.
A couple folks I saw looking to the camera of a video, you know, because I was multitasking. I'm going to pronounce this name wrong. I already know I'm going to for a fact. Saraju Education Project, if that's how you say it. But it looked like you had a great connection with those kids, and I assume that was in India.
Oh wait, I don't know. Is that one? Was that in that video, or was that the Ecuador video?
It's probably was the Ecuador video, but I assumed it was India. I assumed it was in India because it could be wrong. I want to be corrected.
That first name's not ringing any bells to me, but
when
I was in India, Tony had been there before, and he like made connections with folks, and so he had friends that worked up in the school. Maybe the school was called like in that video. We're like at a school for a moment, but then there's another video with like a school project, like it was a project with young people. That's why I'm like, was it?
Does Sandeep Rana ring a bell?
Sandeep, yes. Okay, so that was Tony's friend.
Gotcha.
That in his school. The only reason I thought it was the other one was because we collaborated with like a school in Ecuador.
Oh, okay.
And Quajo made a mural, and so I was like,
Quajo.
Yeah, Quajo was talking about that.
Man, that was like the most powerful experience. Going to Ecuador, and like I made like a short, you know, like a 20-minute. That's like long. That's the longest on my end of like work, but short in the sense of like a documentary, but like a short like piece that kind of just documented our time there. And that also is like some of my favorite stuff too. Like because like so much of my work is like messaging, and like I like when it's not. There was no message in that video. It was just like it was just like I was just documenting like what was happening like in real time, and the process of the mural being made, and like some of the relationships being had, and I kind of take that as like a like meditative. It's just kind of like a meditative practice. You're not really like pushing like any type of agenda. It's just like things that are you're just documenting and creating something that just happened. Yeah,
it's a great unexplainable feeling.
It is. Yeah, that was that trip was awesome. That was really powerful. Fortunate to like be able to like have these trips. I'm like really fortunate for like the friends in my life, and like that like have the like that create these worlds in the sense of like that I'm able to like join and be a part of. Pretty cool. Yeah.
What's really cool to see is that you capture children well when it comes to your filmmaking. I saw a little shorts just before this interview of you with the New Haven Public Library, and just capturing those little kids, especially on social media day, and just like just telling them and being excited. How powerful is your connection just with the future of the city? Just talking to kids, learn about their stories, and just like highlighting them in a positive way.
And that's actually that series was some of my favorite series. The one for the public libraries, and we went to every branch. I went to every branch and shot.
Right.
And I think I'm real silly, and like my connection, like I'm like people consider me like a big kid sometimes, so I feel
I can relate. Yeah.
I'm just like able to like kind of like pull this energy out of like like whoever I'm filming, and like that Fairhaven video with that like that boy that was like talking about why he loves the Fairhaven Library. But that video was really sweet, and he like does this like little freestyle, and he's got this big laugh, and it was just like, did you see that one?
I didn't see that one. I saw the social media day and the one you were at the downtown library. I didn't see the Fairhaven one.
Oh, the downtown library, you too, with the
that's the one I saw.
I love that video. I really do. That series of videos I really like. Really love that series, and that series was able to like they put that in for like up for an award for like best digital media, nice. Like the Connecticut libraries, and it was like able to win that. But that was a fun series. I think my connection, it just kind of exists in that moment. Beyond that, like but that moment, there is something powerful about that moment, and I feel like whether it's like with young people or anybody in the city, I feel like I do know a lot of people in this city because but it's because like when you create like a like video, you really get to know somebody. It's like the same way that you probably know a lot of people, because when you talk to people on this with your show, you're really talking to them, like you really like understand folks, and it's the same thing with video. So like I feel like I made like a bunch of stuff, and it might seem like it's kind of like a flash in the pan, but it's in that time of us making it, there was a real connection being had, and so I feel like I'm sure you could relate, both of you could relate to that.
As we continue with connections, is the true reward seeing their faces when you play back that video, them saying that final prize? Is that the true reward for you?
That's so funny. Yeah, it actually is, because like a lot of times you'll do work that's either like you don't get, not always like the money's not always like what it should or could be for like the value of it, and there's sacrifices that you make, and
Of course.
seeing like the work, seeing it travel, and seeing how people respond to it is a big thing, is a huge thing for me. Like, so being able to see it travel like on social, seeing people's reactions to it, seeing how people interact with it is like a whole, like almost like a whole half of it. It's a big, it is a big thing because it's what fills you back up, because you
Right.
so much gets depleted in the production of it. Like, it's exhausting mentally. It's exhausting mentally, physically, and you need to like refill your cup somehow. That's through that part.
Unfortunately, we almost come to a close with this program at Behind the Brand, but just what we always do for every guest of the show. Anything you got coming up in the foreseeable future, please tell our audience, and any way to reach you social media wise. This is your time. Go right ahead.
Yes, and I think, in the, like right now, I'm like, I work for like the Narrative Project, and so, like, I'm really proud of the work that goes on there. I still freelance, you know what I mean, and can't think of like one thing that like I'm working on. There's always kind of like a number of things kind of being processed like in the moment, and really proud of the work that like I'm able to help with Wind Down. So on social media is just my name, and like for me the brand is built off of relationships, and that's why like my name is my brand. So
dope.
Yeah, so it's just
dope.
Carbonella. Yeah.
Travis, it's been really great having you here on the show. I appreciate you. I'm pretty sure Easy really appreciates you here too with that awesome introduction you gave in the beginning. I'd love to have you on again sometime in the foreseeable future, because I just felt we only reached just a little bit of layers in this onion for you with your long career. And we appreciate you, man, here on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven, Behind the Brand, myself, Prestige, and Long Island raised, Elm City made, EZ Blues. Thank you, Travis.
Yeah.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Spending time all alone, sending my songs to the phone, dreaming of a better home, while focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft. I hope the brujas let this last.
I don't know if the earth is painted blue.